In July 1924, Fred Beck and 4 other miners were working a claim 2 miles east of Mount Saint Helens. The miners had noticed large human-like footprints in the area on previous trips, some measuring up to 19 inches in length, and while it put some of the miners on edge, the claim on this trip was too good to pass up. The trip seemed to be going according to plan, until the miners began hearing shrill whistling and loud pounding noises in the evenings for about a week-long period. One morning, Fred accompanied another miner to gather water from a nearby spring, being sure to bring their rifles in case of an emergency. Upon reaching the spring, the other miner raised his rifle and took aim at a creature across a small canyon. The creature was tall, man-like, and covered in long dark hair from head to toe. Likely catching on to the presence of the men, the creature quickly took cover behind a nearby pine tree. Moments later, the creature peered out to view the men across the canyon, and it was at this moment that the other miner took fire upon the creature. The creature disappeared for a few moments, until it later reappeared down the canyon, eventually moving out of sight and escaping the barrage of bullets from the men. Upon returning to the camp, frightened, the 2 men relayed their account to the rest of the miners, eventually deciding that they would all head back into town the next morning at sunrise. The men settled down in their sturdy windowless cabin for the night, completely unaware of the attack that was soon to follow. The absence of windows on the cabin meant nothing on the outside could view the men, but it also meant that the miners were completely blind to the world around them. At about midnight, as the moonlight shone upon the canyon below, the miners were awakened in the night by a loud thud against the side of the cabin, knocking loose some of the chinking between the cabin's logs. Surrounded, the men grabbed their rifles and readied themselves as the creatures moved in closer and closer. The men spotted at least 3 of the creatures, but the whistles and knocks surrounding the camp indicated many more were just out of sight. The creatures began pelting the cabin with small rocks and pebbles, some even rolling down the chimney of the cabin. The attacks came in waves, with short breaks of silence in between. The men agreed to only fire their rifles during the attacks, hoping that the creatures would realize that the men were only acting in self-defense. The creatures began attacking from the roof, and it was at this point that the men decided to open fire. The creatures continuously pounded on the cabin, attempting to break down the doors and bring the cabin to the ground. At one point in the night, one of the creatures reached its arm through some loose chinking and grabbed an axe on the inside of the cabin. Thinking quickly, Fred Beck turned the axe head upright, causing it to become caught between the cabin's logs. A shot was fired at the creature, and the hand quickly withdrew from the cabin's walls. The Mountain Devils, as they were called, attacked the cabin for hours on end as the men continued to fire rounds at the creatures. Finally, just as daylight began to gaze upon the cabin, the attack ceased and the creatures fled. The men hurried out of the cabin to get a view of what exactly had attacked them that night. Soon after getting outside, the men noticed one of the 8 men standing near the canyon about 80 yards away. Seizing this opportunity, Beck fired 3 shots at the creature, and it toppled into the vast expanse of the canyon below. Immediately afterwards, the men rushed out of the site and drove back into town, leaving behind around $200 of equipment. The men reached town, and it wasn't long before their story spread to the local newspapers, spurring a large-scale hunt for the creatures. The hunters that returned to the location found large human-like footprints, but never caught sight of the creatures again. The encounter had such an immense impact on the community that the canyon in which the creature fell was later deemed Ape Canyon, as it is still known to this day. But the true question remains, were these miners really attacked by a group of large hairy ape men, or is this just another tale to tell around a campfire? We may never know for sure, but we do know that this tale has had quite an impact on the world of Bigfoot, and remains one of the most famous Bigfoot accounts ever reported.